It's time now for our Entre Nous segment. Today we're focusing on the Patrick Bruel affair, or rather the accusations by some 30 women of sexual assault by the singer and actor. For more on the scandal and its wider implications, I'm joined in the studio by France 24's Solange Mougin. Good to have you with us, Solange. This scandal is raising some rather thorny questions here in France, isn't it?
Yeah, l'affaire Bruel, as it is called here, brings some rather ethically and judicially tricky questions to light. Some that we've seen before, but also others that are relatively new. Now, the first question is it possible to separate the art from the artist or the art from the abuser? And the second question is what to do with this notion of presumption d'innocence, or the idea of being innocent before being proven guilty. That still stands in court, of course, but is it and should it still be valid in our minds, in the public's minds, when it comes to sexual assault, where justice is so rare? And finally, what of France's statute of limitations here? Could this widely mediatized case or cases, as there are multiple investigations going on, could they change how we think of the statute of limitations, particularly if the victim's lawyers manage to prove that this is, if they prove this, a case of a serial rapist? But before those complex questions, let's dive into what the Bruel affair, Bruelgate, you could say, is about. If you do not know him, Patrick Bruel has been a megastar for decades in France. In the 90s, there was Bruel mania in cinema, and also he is also a singer. Currently, some 30 women have come forward saying that they were assaulted by him. Over half of them have lodged formal complaints of rape. And those numbers keep going up, and they include the complaints of well-known French women, including the TV presenter Flavie Flament, who says that when she was 16, she was given a tea by the over 30-year-old Bruel, and then she woke up to him putting her pants back on. She accuses him of rape. Bruel said he did have a short thing, a brève histoire, with Flament, but denies the rape charges and some 30 other women's accusations. He's vowed to fight the charges and to continue the theater piece that he is currently acting in and his scheduled June music concerts.
And Solange, on Wednesday night, a feminist collective disrupted one of those theatre performances.
Yeah, they did. As Media TV and the journalist Clément Lano tell us on social media, activists entered the Edward VII Theatre, put on Bruel masks, and began shouting, Bruel violeur, rapist, before being escorted out. The women belong to a collective of feminists who raise awareness about widespread violence towards women. It's called Nous, toutes, or All of Us. And they regularly interrupt shows of accused stars. They were the women that the French First Lady was referring to when she said sale conne. Nonetheless, the Bruel interruption, also his insistence to keep working, but also the cancellation of some of his shows, and even mayors, including Paris's mayor, coming out and saying he should take a break for now. Also, there's a petition online signed by thousands. It brings up this ethical and ultimately highly personal question of should we and can we separate the art from the artist?
Yes, presumption of innocence, but at the same time, it's not necessarily right to be in the spotlight when there are potentially victims who are suffering.
I think there's no longer any doubt he's an aggressor.
I don't have the facts, and you probably don't either. And anyway, these complaints that have been filed haven't been proven, so I think we should carry on with the music.
Now, we have all grappled with these questions before. In France, the concerts of Bertrand Cantat, who was convicted of killing his companion, come to mind personally. Should he, since he served his time and is now out of jail, be able to do shows again? What of Roman Polanski, Woody Allen movies, Gérard Depardieu? Does it change things if the accused is never convicted of mistreatment or is now deceased? Take Picasso or Michael Jackson. Should we ban them? Should we contextualize it? Is it harder to do so with music, especially when you were a fan? What of collaborative efforts? Michael Jackson is an interesting case here, particularly because of the biopic supported by his estate that is currently in theaters. It doesn't discuss the accusations of pedophilia, so it can potentially really be seen as a rewriting of his image without the darker context. These are ethical questions with no easy answers that each and every one of us has to weigh in regard to the increasing number of artists that are accused.
And quickly, Solange, finally, why could this case, the Bruel case, stand out from the many other celebrity scandals with regards to sexual violence?
Well, we'll see what the courts do, but it could stand out in regard to prescription, or the statute of limitations. France's government spokesperson, even when asked about the Bruel affair, she even encouraged all victims to come forward, even if the time limits to press charges are passed. This is due in part to a growing understanding of why it can take so long for victims to grapple with something like rape and press charges. There's also a growing momentum since the MeToo movement to stop institutionalized silencing of women. Also, France's penal codes are changing. In 2021, the notion of a sliding timescale, or a prescription glissante, was introduced for sex crimes against minors, with the last claim pushing that limit further. Also, there is the notion of extending or waiving limits for serial rapists, which in the Bruel case could actually potentially be taken into account. This could potentially make charges, which happened too long ago, to be allow them to be reintroduced as admissible. We'll see what the courts decide, and even beyond the legal challenges, for only 1% of rape cases lead to a conviction in France. There is again this societal questioning of how to effectively make such impunity of violence go away and thus make it stop.
Solange Mougin with today's Entre Nous segment. Thank you very much indeed. And you can catch this show again on our website, france24.com.